Hello, this is Chris, K9EQ, and we're at the location of the W0ANA D-Star repeaters. There's 4 of them in that rack, and also the W0MDT and K9EQ repeaters on 444.525 and 444.075 here in Mounds View, Minnesota. And we've got the Flir camera and taking some heat pictures of the devices. So let me calibrate the camera. So the camera is now calibrated, and that's the Astron 50 amp power supply at the bottom there that we see at about 95 degrees. It's also a piece of equipment up here I need to calibrate again, which is running at about 86 degrees. So it looks like the front panels of the repeaters aren't very warm at all. We go over to the other rack over here, and what we have up here are 2 power supplies, which I have to calibrate again. And so they're, you can see that they're on and running a little warm. We go down a little bit, and that is the, we're looking at the SCOM, well actually we're looking at the bottom of the 2-meter link radio there. Got the SCOM controller. The ICOM FR6000 is looking pretty cool from the front. It sucks air in from the front. And down here we have the DR1 repeater, and that's the front panel that you see at 80 degrees. Below that is a GE backup repeater that is at essentially room temperature. And on top you can see which computer is being used of the 2 computers. That's not hard to tell. And we get a 90-degree spot up there. So let's go around to the back of the rack and see what it looks like in there. So this is the ugly back of the rack. Down below we have, that's the 6-cavity duplexer for 525. Down below is the 4-cavity for 075. And that hot spot you see down there, that's the exhaust fan, the power supply for the Henry 200-watt amplifier. We're running at about 90 watts out of the duplexer. Now as we look up, there's the GE backup repeater that's not on. There's the DR1. We'll calibrate again. And you can see the exhaust fan is warmer than the rest of the radio. There's the ICOM repeater. And we've got some the link radio there, and there's the back of the power supplies. And then of course up here you can definitely tell which computer is being used and where the output exhaust is. So what we're going to do now is key the transmitter, and actually this will key both transmitters, and see what happens. We'll calibrate again, and I'll key the transmitter up. So both transmitters are running now. So we have some, and I should mention too, down in the bottom there behind the duplexers is where the 2 power amplifiers are. So it looks like, to calibrate again here. I've got to calibrate a little bit longer because the temperature's changing. Not much warm up on the DR1. K9EQ testing. So look at some of the coax cables down. So what you're seeing down there, that can is the first transmit cavity of the 6-cavity duplexer on 525. It's getting about 140 watts input. There's the second transmitter can, and there's the third transmitter can down there. I can get the camera in here a little bit better. There we're seeing the back of the Henry amplifier, and we're looking at some exhaust fans. And what you see over here on the left is the cable that's carrying the RF coming out of the Henry amplifier. So the coax cables actually run warmer when you're running that much power through them. and once again the exhaust fan on the Henry. And down below the Henry is the EFJ amp. Now, I can't really get in there to look at it, and you can I can't see too much on the EFJ amp. It actually does most of its heatsink work out the front, but you can definitely tell that the transmit cavities are warming up a little bit. So we're at about 84 degrees now on the first transmit cavity, and there's the amplifier power supply for the Henry amp at about 130, and then of course there you see my foot. We'll go around and take a look at the front of the rack and see what's happening over there. Not too much of a difference. We'll go down below the rack, and that's where the two amplifiers are. So that's the Henry amplifier, which is relatively cool on the front. We don't see much temperature rise on it at all. Down below is the EF Johnson amp, which was relatively cool from the back side, but a little bit warm on the front there, which is perfectly acceptable temperature. The EF Johnson amp has no cooling fans on it, and it wasn't intended to have any. So those are the two amplifiers. Anyway, thank you for watching the short little video of the thermal output of the W0MDT and K9 EQ repeaters in Mounds View, Minnesota.